Hello, everybody. I'm the OG Gamer, and I'm back with another gamer rant. And as I'm sure you can probably tell by the title of the video, I seek to answer a question. And I implore those of you who perhaps have your own opinion in the matter to comment below on your opinion. But the question I want to answer today is: are microtransactions really that bad? Right? Now, microtransactions have been a part of gaming for a long time now. If I recall correctly, the very first official microtransaction was in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It was a gold horse armor. Excuse me. Now, I don't remember, I don't know exactly how much that horse armor cost because at the time that it came out, I was not playing Oblivion. Um, and I've not really got to play it enough to I don't know if that price has now been adjusted for inflation these days because I don't really know how many people actually still play Oblivion versus like the newer games like this like it's I want to say predecessor. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right word, but the one that come after it, Skyrim. You know, it's Oblivion is not as well known in the older as not as well known as I can't talk today. Oblivion is a lesser well known Elder Scrolls game. So I don't know how many people actually knew about the horse armor. I'm sure a lot of people did because I've seen it online before. And but like I said, the question I am posing, like I said, is: are microtransactions so bad? Now, in that particular context, it wasn't. It was a very small microtransaction. I mean, I don't even think that horse armor cost maybe a couple of dollars in real life, if that. Right? And it was for a nice little fancy gold horse armor. And it was cool. People paid for it. But see, the thing of it is that, in my perhaps not so humble opinion, was the proverbial floodgates, right? Because for every good thing out there in the world, there are always those who will seek to abuse it for their own personal gain, no matter the cost. Whether that cost comes to, majority of the time, it comes, that cost comes to other people. Um, but I have watched microtransactions go from the simple horse armor that we saw in Oblivion up to the point where we're at now, where microtransactions are now a part of basically every game out there. I can't think of but maybe a handful of games that I have on my PlayStation that don't, in some way, shape, or form, have microtransactions. Right? And I get like I feel like that in some for some instances it's justified. Right? For example, in a game that is free to play, right, such as War Thunder or uh, or Fortnite, you know, or Warframe, any of these games that are free to play, I understand why they have microtransactions because these game developers still need to make money off of this game, right? Because I mean, money is what keeps the company going. They have to make profit in order for the company to continue growing and continue making great games. So I fully understand why these free to play games have microtransactions. Now that doesn't mean that they should have straight up pay to win things, which most of them don't. At least not that I can tell, right? But I absolutely understand the need for microtransactions in that instance. Okay? But a example where the opposite has happened, right? Where microtransactions have had a negative effect, I think at least, is in the Rockstar community with GTA Online and, of course, uh, its sister uh, title, if you will, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. Which Red Dead Redemption had a different online at one point in time that was based off of the first one, but we're not going to talk about that one because, frankly, I never really played it. Like, I never had the opportunity to play it while it was still, like, popular. So I guess technically speaking, it was the granddaddy to the current Red Dead Online. But again, I never personally played it, so I don't really know. I have no way of comparing on that. But I have played both GTA Online and Red Dead Online. Obviously, I think I've mentioned that in some other videos. Um, which, by the way, uh, while I'm on that same vein, I'm aware of the fact that my last Red Dead Redemption 2 video does not have any commentary whatsoever. Apparently, I had my mic muted while I was recording and did not realize it until after I finished. And I really didn't want to have to go back and like go find a save from before and try to get all that progress back. It was just going to be a pain. So I just went ahead and uploaded it without commentary. It's just gameplay. All right. So I do apologize for that. Apparently, I had another video like that as well. I didn't even realize I'd done it like that. So, like I said, I do apologize about that, and I will be trying to keep a better eye on that in the future. But back to what I was saying. I have played both GTA Online and Red Dead Online. And I think I will say that Red Dead Online, if we're talking strictly with microtransactions, I would say I like Red Dead Online better because it doesn't necessarily feel like it's almost pay to win. But with GTA, and maybe it's because it's been around longer, but with GTA, I feel like microtransactions truly poisoned the experience of that game. And I'll explain why. Right in the beginning, in the beginning of GTA Online, yes, there were shark cards. I think I think like within about what a year or so, maybe two, they started producing shark cards, and that was fine, right? Because what these shark cards provided, right, was a way for the people who maybe didn't have the time to grind to to keep up with those that did. Because you think about it from this perspective, right? Say you're like me and you have a job, you have a house, you have kids, a wife. You're not going to have time to sit there and grind a game for days and days and days. All right. But because you are working, you are probably going to have maybe a little bit of disposable income. So why not use that to keep yourself ahead, to keep yourself up with everybody else so that you can enjoy the game just as everybody else does. That makes sense to me. Where they messed up, in my opinion, was that they focused so much on that. They became so hyper focused on trying to get people to buy more shark cards. And it works to a degree, actually a little too well, because now, I mean, you look in the past 13 years, how many titles has Rockstar released? Since GTA Online dropped, okay, how many titles has Rockstar released? I will give you a hint. One. Red Dead Redemption 2. And of course, its online counterpart. And you can tell, looking at Red Dead Redemption 2 online, that they were attempting to try to turn it into the same thing as GTA Online, except in the Wild West. Because, you know, in the story of Red Dead Redemption 2, you know, uh, Arthur's hair and beard grows gradually over time, which I thought was such a cool feature. Like something you almost never see in any other game. So cool. And it allowed for like different kind of customizations. And I thought for sure that this would be something that we would see in the online as well. Thinking, well, as good as the features are in the story, well, surely they'll be just as good in online, right? But no, it wasn't, and I was quite frankly disappointed. When I first loaded in, I had nothing to my name, I had no roles, I had no money. All I had was a pistol and whatever clothes were on my back. Okay, and this at first I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? Makes sense. But I soon figured out that it was nowhere near what I thought it was going to be. See, when I thought, oh, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, I thought outlaw, outlaws, stuff like that. Because they could have easily taken the heist models, like what they were using in GTA Online, and ported them over to Red Dead Redemption 2 and made, rather than calling them heists, maybe robberies or jobs or something like that, And you could have easily set up these heists, like with friends, right? Robbing, say, the bank in Rhodes or the bank in Saint Denis, you know, and it would have been so cool. It would have been such an awesome experience. But instead, they opted for something different. They opted for these roles, and each role cost you like 15 gold. Which, mind you, by doing the story missions for online, you can in fact get enough gold to at least get one role. You know, which is it's a start. But if you don't know which role is going to produce the most gold for you in return, then you're kind of at a disadvantage because you're more likely to choose a role that's not going to give you a good, you know, return on your investment. And that's exactly what Rockstar's counting on. Is that you're going to choose something because you think, oh, it's cool, like Bounty Hunter, for example. You see Bounty Hunter, you're like, oh, sure, I'll hunt some bounties, figuring maybe you'll hunt other players or something like that. Which, by the way, is a thing. You do, I think, get to hunt other players if they have a high enough bounty. But good luck on that, by the way, because you'll probably get absolutely wrecked the minute that you attempt that. But nonetheless, you know, it it's almost deceptive in a way, and then you realize pretty quickly that you're not really getting paid all that much money compared to the prices of everything in the stores. Not to mention, there were some things that straight up didn't even you weren't even allowed to use cash for. It was straight up gold. There was no other way, at least no honest way of doing it, of getting it, without spending real life money. And honestly, that's kind of messed up. Like, even in GTA Online, there was to my knowledge, there was not a single article of clothing in that game, a single vehicle, nothing. Everything in that game could be bought with the in-game money. You did not have to buy any kind of premium currency to get it. Now, could you buy shark cards to make it easier to get? Oh, absolutely. But you didn't have to. So what I see with what I see looking at Red Dead Online and comparing it to GTA Online is that they were trying to take Red Dead Online and make it into the new GTA Online. My guess is with the hopes of maybe retiring GTA Online and everybody move over to Red Dead Online. Except it didn't work that way. Because, well, in the famous words of Dr. Ian Malcolm, life finds a way. And just like with GTA, people found ways to make money. See, in GTA, and Red Dead is also like this, Rockstar cranked up the economy. Like, they inflated the economy to the point where a lot of the heists and everything that you did really wouldn't get you enough money to really do jack. Like, you do one heist, oh cool, you got 1.5 mil, great. You know what you can buy with that in GTA Online? Not jack squat. I mean, someone might as well have just handed you an entire trash bag full of dog crap for 1.5 mil. And that's ridiculous. Because even in the real life economy, 1.5 mil is a freaking windfall. Like, that is an obscene amount of money for someone like myself. You know what I could do with 1.5 mil? I could have this house I could have my house paid off and be living comfortably for my remaining days till the good Lord takes me on 1.5 mil in real life. But in GTA Online, that don't buy you nothing. And it's ridiculous. And the same thing applies with Red Dead, right? With Red Dead, a lot of the things on there are so overly priced, you know, that you really don't have any other choice but to either A, sit there and grind for a god awful long time, or B, find a way to exploit the game so you can make a ton of money. And exploit the game people did. I mean, there's God. You look online on YouTube and you will see an absolutely god awful amount of glitches and cheats and exploits and everything else for GTA Online and Red Dead Online. And it's funny because, especially on Red Dead Online, not Red Dead, GTA Online, you know, Rockstar took that stuff very seriously. I can remember a time where you would get banned if they thought you were trying to glitch in a ton of money. And even now, right, there's a cap on how much money you can actually make in a single session in GTA 5 Online. And if you make more than that cap, guess what? They're going to immediately look at your account and be like, nope, this guy's not doing, this guy's doing something that ain't right. Take the money. That, to me, that action, plus the fact that they make the grind so difficult, they cranked up the NPCs where they effectively have aimbot. So if you're not wearing a helmet and you're fighting NPCs, you better pray to whatever god you believe in that you don't get hit in the head or it's instant lights out, which, to be fair, is realistic. But still, yet, you know. And then you got the rapid fire bug, which strikes everybody. But my point is, right, is that microtransactions plagued Rockstar so hard that for the past 13 years, they only ever got one other game out since GTA Online hit. It has effectively killed their creativity. Because now all Rockstar is known for is GTA and Red Dead. That's it. Hitman's done. I think it was Hitman. I think they did Hitman. But still, like, they had so many other titles that were so good back before GTA 5 dropped. None of them gotten a sequel since. A whole generation of console has went by. Not a single sequel to any of those other titles. A little food for thought right there. But I will say, all in all, I do think that microtransactions are a necessary part of gaming, unfortunately. And whether they're necessary or not, I think it's something we're going to have to deal with, you know. And they may very well get worse. And it is very exhausting to see games that try to push you so hard into buying it that it basically makes the game impossible without it. I mean, how is that any different, right, than stealing some asthmatic kid's inhaler and saying, okay, well, if you pay me $20, I'll give you the inhaler back? Now, I'm not saying that people can't live without video games, okay? Don't get that twisted. But I am saying that what they're doing is they're effectively making the game impossible to play and then turning around and saying, hey, we will unlock this for you for a price. And the thing of it is, what that actually does, right? What that does is it almost puts a gap in the game between certain types of players, right? Because if you see players running around with billions of dollars on their account in GTA, they have the mansion, they have the Mark II oppressor, the Kostaka, they got everything, all the bells and whistles, everything you could possibly want, every business, whatever. Either A, they glitched all that money in, which, dear God, I respect the time and commitment it probably took to do that, because I know how difficult that is. Or B, they're paying their way to that point. They have way too much extra money and extra time on their hands, and rather than, I don't know, doing something constructive with their money, they want to spend it annoying everybody else who's just trying to grind the game. Which, by the way, that is griefing, and I don't usually call them griefers. I call them, well, names I can't say on YouTube. But I mean, that's kind of my stance there. And like I said, it is a necessary part of gaming, especially like if we want to switch to, say, free to play games, which I do support that particular structure because I feel like that it gives the opportunity to everybody to enjoy a game. Obviously, there are certain styles of games that you just simply couldn't do that with. For example, single player story driven games such as like say Resident Evil Requiem just come out. I mean, is it expensive? Not too bad actually for a Resident Evil game, especially a new one. But obviously, there'd be no way of making it free to play without having to put in some major microtransactions that could really, I think, screw up the experience. You know, because there's certain types of games that when you hear their titles, you kind of have an idea of what to expect. And so when they start changing that, that's when people start getting upset. Anyways, I've ranted on for probably long enough. If y'all enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button and light up that bell icon. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.